Did you guys see what's going on in St. Paul, Minnesota? There's a woman standing in her yard, and there's a gang, a gang in her yard.
With my address on it?
Absolutely not. This is her house.
I need a warrant with my own address on it. Do you want to see my mortgage? I own this house. I am upset because this is not.
You need a warrant. You need a warrant.
You need a warrant.
You need a warrant. This is an illegal action without a warrant.
This is my property. You need a warrant. I don't.
You cannot trespass
You need a warrant.
on her property without a warrant.
The church, you can use that. That you can use, they will authorize you. I will not. This is my home and my property. No, I am not.
She's not obstructing. It's her house.
I need a
It's her land. She owns it.
I'm asking for a warrant with my address on it.
Absolutely not.
Why can you not present that to me?
If you don't stop interfering with our office, I will place you under arrest for obstruction.
Why can you not?
Obstruction of what? It's her house.
Why can you
not push so that people can protest legally and safely, in addition to not assaulting the officers in front of the house.
I do not believe you're allowed to do that on private property without a warrant.
So as you can see, this woman is demanding a search warrant, or at least a warrant for them to stand on her front lawn and tell her that she doesn't get to kick them the hell off of her property as they stand there with sirens blaring, gas masks on, and a fight that's about to happen. But the threats come to the homeowner that she's going to be arrested for obstruction for standing on her own front lawn and telling them to get the hell away from there, or present the warrant that they get to stand there and do what they want. Isn't it weird how when fascists are in office, suddenly, people's, castle doctrines and their ability to have their own property to themselves is no longer theirs? It's weird. Let's watch more of what it is that they're doing here in St. Paul.
That's crazy. That's insane.
Ready, let's go. We're not going to clear
Yes.
A medical call to the front of the address. Please move your protest to the west. We will be conducting a line push. Do not interfere with the officer.
Insane.
We will be conducting a line push to the west. Do not interfere with our officers. If you do so, we may use force.
Yes. I'm not moving. I'm just watching you document crimes that you're committing.
So that was a scene from that woman's front yard. But what was happening along that street as they were then going after a targeted, a targeted individual that they were looking to take into custody there? Folks came out because they're tired of them running through their neighborhoods, assaulting people, arresting American citizens, arresting people that are here legally, just for the sake of their brown skin, and confrontations happened. It's exactly what they were looking for. Here's more of it.
Protesters were sprayed at another St. Paul ICE raid. This is in the Payne-Phelan neighborhood. This happened Tuesday morning. A bit before this, law enforcement said, "You are too close. If you do not comply, we will use force." Then our cameras captured this image of what appears to be a protester getting sprayed directly in the face as the spraying continues and they push the crowd back and the crowd moves back. These images were captured by photojournalist David Peterlins. He himself saw at least 2 people taken into custody. We are working to get all of the details. We're not exactly sure why ICE was there. We have reached out to them.
Another coward sprays a ton of chemical agents in this guy's face. And as they sprayed across the whole neighborhood, in front of a bunch of residents that are tired of them invading, that are tired of this invading army to continue to attack them. So now we got chemical agents being spread further. Remember Greg Bovino got in some, not in real trouble, just was reprimanded lightly for doing these same kind of tactics in Chicago before they kicked his ass out. And he said, "I'm moving on to North Carolina next," because all he cares about is assaulting Americans. It's weird. It's like they're traitors or something. This kept going on for quite some time. Here's more of the scene. They weren't just spraying people, which of course they did, making it look like some kind of war zone, but they were attacking folks for standing there. Isn't it weird? And It's November. It's about to be Thanksgiving. And this guy came in the White House in the beginning of January. And now, at this point, at the end of this same year, this guy's got people in the streets. You got constant rounds of firing. Who knows what kind of weapons they're shooting at folks? Tear gas, chemical agents, and violence on residents. That's what's happening in the streets. But this is who it is. I guess they were going after. Here's some folks who witnessed it to talk about what is it they're doing out there and also why these guys were here.
Oh, hell no!
Our people united will never be defeated.
La guardia se va a ir ya. The police will leave. Everybody will leave. That was the deal.
Put it down!
Yeah, we know there's a pretty massive federal action and also equally so a very massive community response to HSI being in our neighborhoods and ICE being in our neighborhoods. Yeah, this is not what we deserve, and now folks are taking it upon themselves to make sure that we're keeping our neighbors safe.
People are fighting back. You're going to see it more. Maybe you're going to see more violence because they're ramping it up. I feel like the residents in St. Paul weren't going around with chemical agents tossing it around, but the folks who showed up there, as we saw in that lady's front yard, had gas masks on. Do you think they were anticipating all this Antifa types to come out with tear gas, or were they prepared to launch tear gas attacks on these folks? I think we all know the answer to that question. Except, so I wondered, I kept hearing about the mayor of St. Paul talking about this. And I was like, oh, maybe he's coming out and going to protect his citizens, the people who voted for him. What's weird? Actually, it's not weird at all. The mayor of St. Paul did come forward. He was standing outside, and I guess some reporters and journalists asked him, so what the hell, bro?
Are we still a sanctuary city?
Of course.
Then why were police?
Why was SPD?
What I said just before. Our police officer's job. This is what I told you from the beginning. Our police officer's job is never going to be to enforce federal immigration policy, and our police did not enforce federal immigration policy today. If there are people in our community who have lawsuits or who report that they have lawsuits, whether they're federal agents or not, whether they're documented or not, no matter what their immigration status is, our police officers have a role in this. Our police officers have a role in that. And that's why our police officers are here.
Isn't it weird? He said his police officers that also were dispatched to the scene, they have a role here, and their role is definitely not to enforce federal policy. I guess it's to back up these, Gestapo members to enforce their policies. I mean, it's just Donald Trump's policy. You can call it federal policy, but it's fascist policy to go and attack American citizens and run up on people's lawns and threaten them with arrest for coming out and saying, get the hell out of here. The mayor of St. Paul says his police aren't doing anything. Well, I think we saw that. I don't know a lot of the background of this mayor. I also don't know where his stance has been on other attacks of other cities, or if he's welcomed this in, or if he feels like he has to do it or else he's going to be threatened in some kind of way with his political future. I don't know. I really don't know.